Okay. Grand Rising, everyone. This is Ron. It is, uh, my date disappeared just that fast. It is Sunday, October 26th, a little after 11 a.m. So we'll get started, kind of see if we have any questions or anything that may have gotten your attention or anything we may have talked about yesterday. Anybody, any questions or let me ask you this. This may be a very insignificant thing because it has there have been many uh additions or changes made to the White House, but this thing that Trump is doing with this gigantic ballroom, what do you make of it? Have you felt anything, or what's the first thing that came to mind when you noticed this, when you heard about this rather? This thing is larger than the original White House, but what came to your mind when you saw this?
You know, something came to my mind.
I just thought, famously, it's a good sign when the rulers of a country start building giant ballrooms when people can't afford food,
Yeah.
Say that again.
I said, very famously, it's a great sign when the rulers of your country start building giant gold ballrooms
Oh, yeah, yeah.
when regular people can't afford food.
It looks like Russia.
Yeah, exactly. That's who he's friends with.
Yeah. I'm going to see if anyone else.
I thought it was a Caesar move. He made me think of Caesar.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else? My take on it is
Hey, Red. Hey, Red.
Go ahead, Charles.
What is the reason for him to build a gigantic ballroom? Because I know it ain't just for the rich people here.
That's what the question is on the floor. And I look at it historically. In the 40s, Roosevelt had the West Wing built. And when Roosevelt had the the East Wing rather built, when he had it constructed, it was for offices for his wife. That's what the public word is and was. But under the East Wing, there is a bunker. And that bunker was a command center in the event that Washington was attacked. And that bunker has tunnels under it that leads to different spaces in Washington. Matter of fact, it goes pretty much all over the federal district buildings. One of the tunnels go to the Treasury, and the tram under the Capitol goes to the White House, East Wing. And what happened is, well, the reason rather behind Trump taking private funds to build it is because he is not obligated to open the construction of it or the architectural design for it to the public. And what has taken place is, well, first of all, the airspace is always closed, always have been closed over the White House. And there is a rule in DC, a law in DC, that does not permit anyone to build a structure taller than the monument. So there's no way you're going to look into the yards and see what's going on. And across from the White House, there's an Ellipse Park. And Ellipse Park has been closed. That's where the press usually gathers. And there is no view of what's going on in that area where it was torn down, where the East Wing is. So when I take all of that into consideration, my conclusion is they are reinforcing the bunker, and the size of that bunker is going to be the size of that ballroom. That ballroom is supposed to hold 999 people comfortably. And the communication system at the White House is provided by Starlink now. Elon Musk satellite internet company. And the communication that comes to Skylink can be kept private under the guise of national security. So they are building, this is my conclusion, they're building a bunker because Trump is truly not planning to leave the White House. They build a bunker in order to protect themselves, not just the people in the White House, but the oligarch society, which are the billionaires and his family and friends, to protect them from anything that could be untoward, that could be a danger to them. Meaning that with all this bunker being built, the plan is to take over the country differently than what they did beforehand. And what they are actually doing now with ICE, ICE is going to reach a point of transformation. And that is the reason he's trying to get 10,000 more ICE employees on the streets by the first of the year. They are going to become his goon force or his private army. And I do also believe that this is not only the downfall or the dismantling of the system, but there's a very, very strong possibility that there will be bloodletting in the streets, because I do not believe that those good old boys who think they're patriots, I don't believe they're going to take it lying down. And the anger is already brewing with them. And the anger is brewing from the refusal to release the Epstein files and the big, beautiful bill, the results of it. And now, do I believe that they will be successful? No, I know they won't be successful. However, this is the only thing that will force this country to reckon with its past. And when it reckons with its bloody hands towards us in particular, but the world in general, that's when things truly change. And things don't necessarily change, well, don't change usually when you have a force of violence in power. It doesn't change without violence because the power will, the ones who think they have the power will fight to the end to protect it. And right now they understand that they have lost the grip on the control of this country, and they are fighting to stay afloat because they know that if there was ever an eye opening in this country and those MAGA folks began to see how they have been duped, it is not going to be pretty. So they're doing everything they can to continue to perpetuate racism and hold it steady so that they can continue to do the things that they are doing with impunity. And not only that, the reason that the people were told to leave, um, uh, were told to leave the, oh God, would you mute your phones, please? Would you make sure your phones are muted? I lost my train of thought.
You said the people were told to leave.
Oh yeah, at the Pentagon, the news corps has been expelled pretty much by trying to force them to sign, which really is the NDA, and they wouldn't do it. So they cleared them out and put MAGA reporters in, and they are purging the military as we speak, so that those who are flag officers will be under the thumb of the administration. I do not think that's going to be successful. I don't. So hold on for 1 second, please. Continue if you can.
Hey, phone number ending in 111. Can you mute your phone? Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question to ask. Does this sound to anybody like what Hitler did to Europe, Germany?
No. Now, it's the conclusion of Hitler is there, but what Hitler did to Germany was different when he started his buildup. And the difference, if you read the history of it, that the Jews did not hit, that the Jews didn't get a chance to hide, you will see that when Hitler first came to power, Hitler ended interest rates because the Jews in Germany had exorbitant interest rates, and they were milking the people dry. And that's why Hitler ended the interest rates. Sounds simple, but that was a major cause of the economy in Germany failing. And what happened eventually, there was a man in Germany, trying to think of his name, a Jewish guy who was an atheist. Yet he organized Zionism. He is the father of Zionism. And Zionism and Judaism are the same when you look at it from the surface. Judaism, what they call organized Jews. The organized Jews are the ones who were taken to the gas chamber. But the Zionists are the ones who helped Hitler round them up. the Zionists are the ones who aided the Nazis to be able to escape with the help of the Catholic Church. So why did the Zionists do that? Because the Zionism was organized because in Russia, Jews had wrecked the economy in Russia and went to Germany doing the same thing. And the Zionists wanted a space, a place for them to be able to operate with impunity. And they wanted the land where they are now. And there's all this BS about the Exodus. Yes, it was true, but that was not the underlying reason that they meaning the Jews, ended up in Palestine. The underlying reason is that they wanted a space of their own so they could not be cast aside when they did what they normally were doing wherever they were. And that is wrecking the economy. And when they ended up in Palestine, the Zionists were in control and still are. Netanyahu is a Zionist. If this was about Judaism as they present it from the scriptures, the Old Testament, then why is it that there is no mention of anything religious, spiritual, whatever in the Constitution at all? And why is it that the Zionists made sure that there would be no DNA testing in Israel? So this is a home base for the Zionist thugs. They are more efficient and more acceptable than the mafia, but the mafia has nothing on them. And when you look at what happened after World War II, you will see that the same 1 year, I think 1 year, the CIA was organized, and that next year it was Mossad, and they have been working hand in hand ever since. And what they have learned to do since Russia and Germany is they have a operating base, and what they have done is taken control of this country. They are the only people in this country that you can't talk about without going to jail or being having your job lost, having a job lost. Only group of people who if you say that Jew cussed me, now you're anti-Semitic, and they have indoctrinated that into people through the news media and the Congress that they own. So there is a difference in that the country, that the way it grew to where it is with from Hitler to America. What this group of people is doing is not based upon building a stronger economy or taking back the economy from the hands of a few who's robbing people. This is about the oligarch society being in control permanently. And when we look at what's happening in this country in conjunction with the things I've just said, as well as the East Wing being restructured, when you look at all of that, and then you take into consideration that this administration is placing detention centers strategically all over the country. These detention centers are much larger now than they needed to be, and they are being constructed in areas that are close to the states that they feel like would be the most rebellious. And they are talking about it in terms of dealing with blue states. But what it is, these that many detention centers is not necessary. These are places where I believe that the intent is to imprison the people who rebel, and they are actually concentration camps being disguised as detention centers. I'm done. I hope that helps, Ramel.
Well, it does. I wasn't really referencing that part. I was referencing more that how the Germans thought that Hitler was doing something great for them, and they became, in my words, gullible to everything he was saying until he started revealing really what his goals were.
See, that's the kicker. Hitler did not do this without the help of the Jews,
Okay.
the Zionist Jews. See, the Jews control, and I know they have built this up to be a cliche that the Jews control the finances. Well, they do. And when you look at who owns the television companies, who owns the banks, if you want to know who owns the banks, look at who leads the Federal Reserve.
Okay. So you're saying the Jews still, what I hear is you're saying
the Zionist
Jews, okay,
run this country.
no different than they did during Hitler's.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I could see that.
They were just as much of a part of what happened to the Ashkenazi Jews as was Hitler. Yes.
All right.
And
Thank
see, Hitler wasn't crazy
No.
as they present him to be. Hitler adopted the swastika, not because he had an epiphany, but Hitler was well versed in Kemetic history. And a lot of the things that he used after he came to power were energy forces that he had learned from Kemet. And he not only did he study it, but he sent geologists and archaeologists and linguists into what is now called Egypt, which is Kemet, to understand the sources of their power and intellect. So there's a lot about history that we were taught and are being taught that does not pass the smell test. And this is one of them. And the Jews have made people so afraid of talking about it until even when people dig into the history of it and see it, they be quiet about it. And the reason they're quiet about it is because they want to keep living. Epstein was an agent for Mossad. And Ghislaine, whatever her name, the last name is, her daddy was with MI6 in England. So they gathered. This thing with Epstein was not about making money. There is no way on God's green earth that Epstein could have become a billionaire by selling children. They used children, the molestation of children, and they recorded it. They, meaning Mossad, recorded it. And that is what they hold over Congress. That is the reason Congress is afraid to make any moves when it comes to Israel. That is the reason that this country justified genocide, because the ones who are in authority have compromised themselves. And there's a lot more involved in all of this. Now, I do not want you to get the feeling or even think that all of these things that are being talked about are things that's going to happen. This is an attempt to salvage a dying system. The moment that we reclaim the energy from the district, we start seeing a fracture between Trump administration and the people within the administration and the MAGA folks in reference to Epstein files. I do believe that at some point they're going to be released. By whom, I don't know. But I do believe that they exist in more places than the Justice Department in this country. And that is a synopsis of the historical essence of what's taking place right now. And understanding that Trump did not come up with this by him on his own. Trump is only saying the quiet part out loud. Trump is the one who opened up Pandora's box so that all the filth could be seen and all the greed could be experienced by the people who are being used. There is not one billionaire who could sustain this economy if people decided that for 1 week we're not going to work, or for 2 days we're not going to work. Everything would shut down. I'm done.
Questions or comments, anyone?
Is this
I,
clear?
I have a question. Good morning, family. I've just been thinking about this regarding Marjorie Taylor Greene as she's speaking out against the Republicans. I saw it as feminine energy speaking out. Do you care to elaborate on that, Pastor or Ron?
Do I keep going, Jackie? You say you see it as feminine energy?
Yeah, speaking out again. And I know I read a little bit. I've read an article about regarding the shutdown and wanting them to come to an agreement. And I know she was speaking out against the Republican Party. And I know she was saying about if they do not come to an agreement, her children's subsidies will double per grown children. But I kind of looked at it as it's taking a turn as far as feminine energy speaking out, against them. Is that what it's going to take? Or you follow what I'm trying to ask?
Excuse me. A very good question. I had not thought about that. Pastor or anybody?
No,
Any thoughts on that?
it's not feminine energy, self-preservation. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Nick. I would say, yeah, I partly agree, and as Pastor Richard said, it is also partly self-preservation. But I actually do think she is she's still terrible. But at some point you have to choose how far you're willing to go into the depravity of the cult. And she is apparently approaching the line that she is not willing to cross. And I think she is in some ways a sort of preview of what is to come for a certain amount of MAGA people. Because a certain amount of them are, they think this is the correct way to basically improve their own lives out of essentially ignorance in a lot of ways, though they're not wrong about the fact that they're getting screwed over. That we are all very much aware. But as it becomes more apparent that they are not doing anything to improve or address any of those fundamental problems, that basically, and I say this, you know, somewhat facetiously, as they reveal themselves to be just the Illuminati. um, I think a certain amount of MAGA people will, similar to Marjorie Taylor Greene, not be able to balance this equation. They will not be able to continue with it in the way that they are, while it is becoming more obviously negative and destructive. Anyway, thank you.
Would you agree that when you agree that this is division to crack, that is the division that's taking place within the MAGA cult. Margaret Taylor Greene, she is doing this not because she has disdain for the policies of Trump. She's doing this because her kids. She don't want to pay the extra money for her kids to have insurance.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with
Yeah, she don't want to do that. And
if this was only happening to brown and black people, she would probably be fully on board.
fully on board until she came to the realization that, oh my God, I'm gonna have to make up the difference for my kids. Because you remember, she voted for that bill.
Yeah.
She pushed that bill until she realized the damage that it was doing to her children. That's the huge difference. But it is the cracks that's taking place within that. Let me back off of this. Not within the MAGA cult, but within the cult of white people. Because the Democrats are just as bad as they are. They just do it differently. There was no efforts to stop these concentration camps from being structured. There was no injunction sought when the East Wing was being deconstructed, and they know that it was illegal because there are, like the Historical Preservation Society, there are several different organizations that they had to get permitted from in order to deconstruct federal property, and they did none of that. And I do believe that the major reason that we don't have a House of Representatives anymore is because Johnson knew that this was going to happen. And under the guise of protecting Trump from Epstein files, he kept the House out so that would not be rumblings in the House about what's going on the White House grounds. The government is shut down so that Donald Trump's administration can do things in secret that will keep them in power until they can get someone else in his place. So I do believe that this House will not be called into session until whatever his team is doing in the dark is complete. Even going to the Supreme Court. Do any of you believe that the Supreme Court would force Johnson to swear the lady in from Arizona? Even if they did swear her in, he does not have to call the House back into session if he chooses not to. And that's not just for a few days. Johnson does not have to call the House back into session for the next 2 years if he decides. That's how much power the Speaker of the House has. Just like the Speaker of the House can tell the President, you can't come into these chambers. The President can tell Congress, you cannot come into the White House. This is executive ground, that kind of stuff. That's what we're doing.
Hey, real. That's just like they fighting among themselves.
Well, that's what they're doing. Of course, they're fighting among themselves because they have returned to the status of Europe. If history repeats itself, and it does, until you do something about it to change it, what make us think that the history of Europeans killing each other is not going to be repeated history as well? There is no exemption when it comes to the repetitiveness of history. It is the Creator saying, African, deal with this. Bring an end to this. Bring balance to humanity. Otherwise, you are going to be on this merry-go-round until you do. And here we are, bringing the merry-go-round to a screeching halt and reappropriating the energy sources, the balance, the rhythm of the universe, so that humanity can be free from this kinds of stuff. Keep in mind that Europe had to be civilized twice. The Greeks were first, then the Romans, and the Romans lost it. The Moors go into Spain and re-civilize Europe all over again. And now here we are at the brink where there is no way in heck that you're going to tell me that anybody believes that what's been going on in this country since its inception is a model for civilization. This country has never been civilized. So it's time for us to bring some sense of civilization into this country.
So perhaps that's why this is the third time of civilization for Europeans
Absolutely.
that has to be ushered in. So being trite, third time is a charm, but being spiritual, third time is completeness. So it's necessary.
What is 3 again? Tie that in, somebody.
I was saying that 3 part of the meaning is 3. Of 3 is completeness. But Georgia and Nick can probably give you more details.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I meant though. The completeness part. I get it.
I don't think George is on.
Yeah.
But anyway, I agree wholeheartedly that this is not an opportunity for us to complete a breakthrough, be the third to bring civilization to the European mindset. I believe that is not an opportunity, it's the obligation. The obligation comes as a result of this journey. What do you think, Ms. Barbara?
Agreed. There is no way. We were saying that, not on our watch. Well, this is the sentinel moment of part of what our watch is.
Yes.
Is protecting humanity from itself, really.
Excuse me.
Pastor, I have a question. Grand Rising family, and honor to the ancestors. I'm thinking about the scripture that Kathy taught on about being mere men, and I could just see that scripture lining up with what you're saying. If we don't do what we need to do, can you or Kathy elaborate on that scripture about the time we're in now and what's happening?
Kathy, you want to do that? Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find my mute button, Pastor.
Uh-huh.
I apologize. My phone was doing something. I'll lay a quick foundation, and if you'll finish, I think in everything that we've learned and that we are learning about who we are, not understanding the Akashic consciousness, not understanding being Elohim, not understanding any of the things, and not even understanding the guidance of the ancestors and the guidance of the Cosmic Mother and Ein Sof and all of those things that we now have a better understanding of. We were living from situation to situation, and I think someone mentioned a lesson maybe that Barbara had taught about being responsive, and we were always just responding to what was going on around us, not understanding what it means to, like what we're doing now, understanding that we are changing things, what we put into the atmosphere, everything that we are putting out there is changing things, understanding who we are, sitting with things, and just knowing, a sense of knowing that all that we are talking about today can't happen because of us. That's the power and authority that we are now realizing that we have. Prior to that, we were living as mere men, concerned and worried about all of these things that we were hearing because we were dealing with situation after situation and thinking that we were doing the best that we could do and praying about it and leaving it there, not even understanding the power of meditation and changing things through meditation and not even recognizing all of the guidance that we get all the time, even be it through dreams or states of being awake and thinking that we were sleeping, but just all the different nuances that come to us in various ways, all the different power that we have. We are now beginning to understand that. And so when it spoke of you will die as mere men, for generations and generations, we have lived and died. I think I read something on Facebook the other day said, this is all to life, that I live, I work, and I die. Then what's wrong with this picture? And that caught my attention because that's what we've done. We've lived, we worked, we died. Now we're understanding that things won't ever change if we don't change it. So we're no longer living as mere men. We are the man that is awakened to the very essence and being of who we are. And Pastor, if you want to lay more groundwork for that, I would appreciate that.
I agree with everything you said. We are not reacting anymore. We are responding. And now we are not even responding anymore. We are doing preemptive, we're making preemptive moves spiritually in order to be a wall between the destruction of humanity and those who seek to destroy or control humanity. We are opening people's eyes so that they can see that the God that they have been given is a God that never existed. We are not mere men. And hold on to this, if you will. There is no way that Trump could be president if we had not been on this journey, because the Creator is not going to allow an event like this to take place in the earth without there being someone who would stand in the gap. And we are standing in the gap for humanity. As a matter of fact, we are the bridge that connects the gap for humanity. We are the wall that protects humanity. We are the wisdom that drives this vehicle towards freedom. We are the ophthalmologist that opens the eye so that how people can see. And we are the ones who bring to humanity what it needs in order to survive. All of that is wrapped up in knowing you are Elohim. And if we allow the things that have beset us to continue to do that, if you are afraid when you hear the news, if you are unsettled about anything that's going on based upon what this society looks like, then I ask you, are you a mere man? Are you functioning as a mere man or Elohim? Because if you are functioning with fear, you are living as a mere human being, and not as a God. When you live like Elohim, when those things cross your mind and you get unsettled about them, you remind yourself, is there anything too hard for God? Is there anything too hard for us to accomplish? Absolutely not. We are who we are because we were brought into existence to be who we are. And of course, to some people, this would sound arrogant, but this is one of the reasons we're in this proverbial electronic cave, being protected from all those other things, so we don't have to respond to them. We are who we are in this space for one reason only, and that is to show humanity what God looks like. And I'm not talking about your black face. I'm not talking about your African culture. I am talking about knowing what you look like. I'm knowing what God looked like in terms of the attributes of loving kindness, provision, etc., protection. All of those things are a part of knowing exactly who we are and functioning in that manner. So I think this one of the simplest things for us to do to remind ourselves of all of this is there anything too hard for God? I hope that helps. Evelyn?
Pastor, it did, and I appreciate what you and Kathy said. I mean, that resonates with me deeply. And it is imperative that we protect our peace, no matter what we see on the surface and what's happening on social media. Like you say, get off of social media. If this things are making you off balance, it is imperative that we protect our peace. That's all I wanted to say to the family. Thank you.
What does it look like to protect your peace? I'm not asking you specifically, Evelyn. It's a question for thought. What does it look like when we talk about protecting our peace? If you look at it on the surface, what we call peace, that means that when we protect our peace, we don't get involved in anything. Protecting our peace is knowing who we are. We are peace. And that is the reason these things, we have to grow to the point where these things don't shake us. We are reminded who we are. However, if we look at protecting our peace, that means that we will isolate ourselves from these situations and circumstances. But that's not protection of peace. That's just sticking your head in the sand. You have to be able to maintain your peace when you are in the midst of the storm. You have to be able to maintain your peace when you are faced with adversaries who are making every effort to make you doubt your peace because they can't destroy it. only you can think that they can take your peace. Remain in calm in the midst of all of that. Is a part of what we mean when we talk about protecting our peace.
Reb, can I ask a question on that?
Yes.
Um, I'm finding myself withdrawing when things are getting stressful. So can you kind of talk a little bit more about that? Because I know that like on an intellectual level, you know, I know a lot of things, but
Yeah.
I'm realizing that it's not showing up like it's not showing up because I do withdraw when things are getting tough and a lot is happening. I kind of withdraw um, as a way to protect, you know, myself and not um, focus too much on the things that are happening. But I know that's not good. So how can you avoid that, the
Oh,
withdrawal part? Because I'm, you know, I'm not talking to the people that could get me out of it, you know, mentally and, you know, just kind of just withdrawing. That's the best word I can use for it.
what I'm hearing is that you're experiencing something akin to depression when you are when you're inundated with things that you believe that you can't handle. Um, that is because we believe that we are supposed to be able to handle things on our own. We have not come to grips with the reality that all of us are connected 24/7. We are one entity. When you is Elohim is one yet many. Now, um, uh, when one of the things I want to say to this that I never really gave much thought to, but it's real. Uh, I'm just gonna say it. If you got issues with it, raise your questions, okay? Keita, that's why we are here. There are 13 of us who teach, who are a covering. 301 is for we are creating an environment where you can be at peace. And it's understandable that you will go through things like feeling overwhelmed and withdraw. I'm saying to you that remind yourself that you are not only are you surrounded and protected by the ancestors, you have 13 people to draw from whose energy is always available to you. And when we start, when you start looking at it from a spiritual perspective instead of an intellectual, and I know it's difficult for you to do that at times, and it may be more often than not because of me knowing you intellectually as well. You have to talk to yourself about who you are and what you believe about it, but also you have to remind yourself that the energy is with you. The rhythm of the universe is with you. You remember, and most of you probably will, that when you tell me about something going on in your life, what do I say to you? I got you, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And doesn't it work out? So what I'm saying
Yeah.
to you now is apply that to all of us. If I can say that I got you, not to worry about it, and you say to me, you'll call me, not you, Keita, but call me and say, I need you to keep praying. Lady did that last week. And I said, I don't keep praying. When I told you I got you, that was all I needed to say because of who I am. Now, I didn't go elaborate in that because when you're praying, you don't understand that you're soliciting the energy from Elohim, from us. That's what you're soliciting. And why are you soliciting that energy from us? It's so that you can grow into being who you were created to be as well. I'm saying things that would have been totally unacceptable and unbelievable a few years ago. I am saying to you that Elohim is one yet many, and you have the presence of many around you at all times. Remind yourself of that, because none of us are able to change your thought processes. None of us are able to purge anything from you if you don't purge it yourself. The shadow work has worked for me. And we mentioned that on yesterday. But make every effort to do some shadow work, and don't try to use your energy or your rhythm alone. Remind yourself that God has you, that Elohim has you, that we have you. Everything that you apply to God in church, that's make application of it to you, to us. In church, we said that you are to pray consistently to God. Ask God. We became beggars to God, from begging for things from God, not realizing that we are God. So when that human, that mere man energy seems to overwhelm you and cause you to withdraw, remind yourself that we are the God that you seek. And we are the God that's always with you. And when God said, when they dominate, that's the domination that it's talking about. It's not talking about a God that's separate from you. It's who you are. So it's okay. Anyone else would like to elaborate? I would appreciate it. Keita, I hope what I've said has in some way helped you.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone would like to elaborate on that?
I'd just like to add, if I may, we usually frame words around definitions that we have been taught. Withdraw is one of those words. And withdrawal does not have to be seen in a negative light. That's what we do when we meditate. We center ourselves. We draw away from those things that we see externally and pay attention to what's internal. And while there are times that I also feel quote unquote down, and that's when I quote unquote withdraw. I withdraw from that thing which seems to overwhelm me, and I center on what's internal. And that's when I do what you say, Pastor. I tell myself, this is who you are. Remember who you are. Remember you are one and many. Remember who you are. And so that, I'm just saying, Keita, that word withdrawal does not have to be perceived as a negative if we do the work of turning inward and really looking at ourselves. So all of it has to do with intent. If the withdrawal is simply to do that and just not focus on anything and just let things happen around us, that's one thing. But if the withdrawal is looking at the internal self and just reminding the internal, the person that you are, the entity, the energy that you are,
To remind you, this is who I am. I am God. I am God. I am God. And just keep, as Pastor just keep telling yourself that. Then the withdrawal will not necessarily be a negative thing, because then you will find that that withdrawal turns into a meditative kind of state where you realign yourself with the energy of the universe simply by reminding yourself what your connection is, who you are. I'm part of that energy. I'm part of that energy. And so what I see out here cannot distract me from seeing and understanding and knowing that I am part of that energy. So there's nothing that can defeat me. And if you do that with purpose, and it doesn't come overnight. And sometimes once you accomplish it, there are going to be times when you feel down. I do too. But when you purposely withdraw for a reason of realigning, reestablishing the frequency with the universe, the vibration with the universe, that's not negative. That's a good thing. So it depends on what you do with that period of withdrawal, is what I'm saying. Thank you.
Barbara Jean, you said something that triggered something. When you said that we purposely withdraw, and that's a huge difference than with just withdrawing. If we allow a circumstance to cause us to withdraw, and because our perception is there's nothing we can do about it, that's different than withdrawing on purpose, knowing that you are withdrawing for the express purpose of reminding yourself who you are, as opposed to going trying to deal with a circumstance as a human.
Yeah, I would definitely say it has not exactly been purposeful. But this is a good reminder. But I think where I struggle sometimes is with feeling if I'm, creating, why am I not seeing more of what I want to see? And then that gets frustrating. Like, okay, you're not doing enough. You're not exactly you're not enough, but you're just not perfect enough, I guess. Because what I'm seeing is not at all what I want to be seeing. And to withdraw on top of that without intention creates more of the, feelings of like you just not doing the right stuff, and that cycle just at times continues. But definitely I see withdrawing with intention is as a good thing. And that's what I will focus on. Purposeful withdrawing.
You said something.
Keita, the other thing I would add to what Barb said was sometimes when we allow ourselves to sort of withdraw without purpose, and I know it happens for me, and I have to keep reminding myself, sometimes we hold our breath, and that can cause a lot of tension in your body. And it can cause a lot of detrimental tension in your body when you're holding your breath. And sometimes we don't even realize it. It's just that when things get overwhelming and we withdraw, we just tend to do it. So I would say when that happens, to focus on some kind of breath work. And also focusing on the breath work will help your parasympathetic system sort of relax so that you can come more into balance and be ready to withdraw purposefully. So I know for me that happens, and I have to constantly remind myself to breathe, to breathe with intent, so that you can bring your body into balance along with your spiritual self too. Anyway, just wanted to add that.
And I
Thank
want
you.
to add to the conversation as well, because I agree with what everyone has said. And I don't find it surprising that you sometimes may not feel the need to reach out to someone else, because what I'm learning too for myself personally is in this period of growth, I don't spend a lot of time always reaching out to someone, but when I withdraw, and that's my go-to thing, I do that quite a bit to withdraw. But I'm learning to withdraw to release. And I think maybe what Audrey was describing just now is one form of release. But my release
Yes.
comes in the form of reminding myself that what you're saying to yourself right now is not true. You are more than enough. You are good enough. You are Elohim. I tell myself who I am. I hold on to what George taught us when he says, he rises up and says, "Good morning, Elohim." I tell myself that now. Even when I call Linda sometimes in the morning, I'll say, "Good morning, Elohim," just to remind myself of who I am. So I withdraw to release, and then once I release, I recharge. What I mean by recharge is everything that Barbara, Pastor, Audrey, that everybody has been saying to you this morning, Keita. That's the recharging. When you tell yourself who you are and you hold on that in spite of. When we were talking about earlier protecting your peace, that's how you protect your peace too. Because there are so many situations, to be honest, in any given day, there's so much that goes on in my life now since I moved home, and I don't have that quiet time of just being by myself all the time where I'm just available to be there to do things for other people. Well, I'm doing stuff for other people all the time, but I don't have that quiet time for Kathy like I used to have. So this withdrawing for me, I fight for that time to sit with myself and recharge, because it's a whole lot of stuff coming at me all day telling me who I'm not. It's up to me to tell myself and remind myself of who I am. So not just in withdrawing, I call my withdrawal now, I'm withdrawing to release and recharge. Because if I am to continue to recognize who I am and do what I was purposed to do on this earth, sometimes I just got to recharge, because I feel completely drained from everything around me. Sometimes it just drains me to the point where I feel like I don't have anything left to give, and I know that's not true. We are givers. We are here for the purpose of giving, to change things. And so I just wanted to add that it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong where you're saying, well, I don't even feel the need to call people all the time. I won't call people all the time. That to me became my first step in learning what it means to sit with myself and to just have conversations with myself and to understand who I am and to see who I am, not what my mind is trying to tell me that I'm not, but from internally through the teachings that we're receiving to remind myself of who I am. And that's what I hold on to with every fiber of my being. I have to hold on to that, because if I listen to my self-talk sometimes, then I probably wouldn't want to even get out of bed. But I know those things are not true. And so I just wanted to add to the conversation that I withdrawing, like Barbara pointed out, I was going to say that she got me in before I did, because I'm having a problem with my mute button today. But I definitely do not see withdrawal as something negative. It can become negative if I withdraw and stay in at a state of depression with all the self-talk telling me what I'm not, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not accomplishing anything in life. But when I withdraw to hold on to who I am while releasing who I'm not, then I'm recharged and I can take on even more, and I can deal with everything that's going on around me and deal with myself, if that makes any sense. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is Sheldon. Is also, in addition to everything that has been said, one seemingly small thing that I wanted to add, but is actually powerful, in terms of just more so intentionally with drawing, in terms of awareness. Peter, you mentioned struggling with things that you actually want, and in the sense automatically withdraw, there is a different type of meditation that's actually going on. But what do you, and this is this is a rhetorical question, this is to everyone, what are you saying, what do you believe when you're repeating something in your head or you're passionate about and you feel deep down in your soul? So, for example, I'm just going to make up a random example. It can be someone who is struggling financially, let's say in very, very dire situation, and they are trying to change their mindset, or they're saying is definitely the case that they truly want to eat. They truly need some type of financial stability or help. But do they actually believe that they have it? They desire it deeply, but at the same time, they're constantly telling themselves maybe they don't deserve it, or they're just highlighting what they absolutely do not have and concentrating on that. And in a sense, nurturing that idea within themselves deeply. They themselves do not see themselves out of that situation. They do not see themselves in the situation of what they actually desire. They're really only seeing and observing where they are and what they do not want. So as everyone is talking about who we are in terms of shadow work, understanding yourself more, etc., not just calling yourself Elohim, but starting to believe that and see that and know that closely within yourself. That is also shadow work in changing and seeing those things in yourself. Seeing, and in some sense, as we've mentioned before, experiencing that which you say you desire in that meditation, in that withdrawal, you experiencing that bliss, not just running from something in a fight or flight situation, but going to a place within, in a sense, that you want to cultivate, that you are happy to be at, etc. And then those things, you, in a sense, you create that thing in the physical world. You create the opportunity to experience that more. That becomes more of your normal experience. Things line up even in the other world for you to experience that as well. But again, that's not just something that's just easy to do. That is shadow work, and no one else can do that for us. We have to get to the point where we are, in a sense, I don't want to say buying into that, but it becomes real to us. It can't just be real for someone else. No one else can do that for us. We have to do that for ourselves. I'm finished.
Thank you. Don't look at someone else and make a perception about it. That they got it. They understand it. They're living that way. You don't know that. You don't know the struggles that's behind what we teach to get to that place. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, meaning that this material essence is weak, even though Elohim, that you are being pulled forward. you're seeing yourself as a mere man, a mere person, flesh rather, a material being. And when you get up in the morning, I just thought about that when George mentioned, and Catherine quoted it, that good morning, Elohim, or grand rising Elohim, either one. Who's saying that? Who's saying good morning or grand rising Elohim? It is your material essence that's reminding itself that it is not just mere man, mere human. It is Elohim. So it is the material nature being reminded that that's not who it is. It is much, much, much more than that. So I think that is a grand way of reminding yourself of that. So we don't focus on what we want as much as we focus on who we are. The provisions, the guidance comes from the ancestors. And embracing that kind of sort of separates us from this material thought of telling God what you want, as opposed to you are recognizing that you are God and you are having this physical experience and you need the guidance from the ancestors. The essence of the ancestors are one with you. And the ancestors know what you need more so than what you want. But to want and not seeing it happen when you want it to is putting yourself in a negative space. And I'm not just talking about Keith, I'm talking about all of us. It puts us in a negative space. Because if we didn't get what we want, does that make you feel jubilant? So it's not so much about what we want as much as it is what we, being a part of the village, needs, and leaving it in the hands of our ancestors to bring us to that space without being doubtful about whether or not something is going to happen. I'm done.
I
Thank y'all.
Oh, no, thank you.
I was just reminded of I remember when I was a kid and I used to think when my granddad would sit down and read the Bible to us and we talk. And I remember one of the questions I asked him, and I don't remember his answer. I remember it took over an hour for him to answer, and I kind of lost interest in it because I couldn't stay with it. But my question was, why is the Bible so full of wars? Why is it always a battle somewhere? And that stayed with me for quite a while until I realized that most of those battles that are described are you and in you. And those battles are things that you overcome. They're not battles against Trump. They're not battles against the Republican or the European mindset. They're battles within you. So the conclusion I came to is how real and how purposeful and how valuable consciousness is. And it is a journey to achieve Akashic consciousness. It is not an easy journey. And here we stand, we're like the death angel that comes by and tells you to wait in your house. And think of, as a kid, you read that, how frightful that must be to hear screaming or hearing people and knowing what's going on. But when you think about it spiritually, you're inside of yourself and you're meditating and this is not just a one night thing. This is describing a life's journey. And when we all get there inside of our house, we're all there together. And we don't always recognize or appreciate that, but we're all there together. So I just want to say that I agree with everything everybody said. And Keita, you're not alone. Say to myself a lot of times, some of the struggles that I go through, why am I going through this? Or what am I trying to see here? What is it I need to learn from this? And a lot of times I get my answers when we come on board and we talk these things out. So we're at a point now where I think, recognize the energy behind recognizing what meditation does and recognizing the value of where we are. And no matter what, staying on the right, on this path, which is the right path, and relying on each other. Relying on each other doesn't always talk about calling one another, but we meet sometime in a spiritual world. We meet sometimes at the ancestors just by asking those questions and relying on those truths that are in us. So that's my take on what you said. I appreciate the question because I really think your question speaks to all of us.
Yeah, it does. May I actually add to that, Ron?
Of course.
When you mentioned the battle, internal, right? It's not a battle against anything. It is a battle for self-awareness.
Okay.
When you battle against something, you attach yourself to it. If I'm fighting you physically, I have to attach myself to you. You see?
Yeah.
So it's a battle for something. Because when we talk about things changing, they actually change not because we're fighting against something, but they actually change when we become aware of self. When we are able to embrace self-awareness, that's what brings about change. We did not see any signs of a crumbling of the society until we started really truly embracing that we are Elohim. And the battle, the internal battle that we have off and on, and having to separate ourselves in order to be reminded that the war is within. That is what pushes the unrighteousness to the brink of being dismantled, or dismantling unrighteousness as a predominant theme in the earth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So being reminded of that, I know it helps you to stay focused on who you are, because you're not looking at what Trump is doing as you're not meditating because of what he's doing. You meditated because of to reassure yourself of who you are.
Just like the story that I mentioned with the Hebrews in their house, to stay in your house. If you think about it, your actions, your presence is what caused the action. Okay. So where we are and the things that we see going on, your presence in the earth at this time, you're seeking without even knowing it, but you're seeking to lift yourself to a greater consciousness above chaos, is what caused these things to happen. So we can't fear ourselves. It goes back to where we started. When we started this, we purge everything as we go along, but we can't fear the thing that we started. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other
I would
questions? or
just,
comments? I'm sorry, go ahead.
yes, I just wanted to ditto what everyone has said, because Kathy, Linda, and myself, we had a discussion on Friday. They stopped by the office and we just had a chat, because I was kind of struggling, because I hear the conversations that are mentioned about the left and the right, and it's almost like they have become so bold about it. And I don't respond. I just kind of look, and just I don't respond. And Kathy has helped me, because it's almost like I was withdrawing as well. And our Monday morning meetings, it's almost like they can't wait to start. They have to bring up something political. And so, Keita, I appreciate the question, because I had been struggling, and I was just so glad that Kathy stopped by, because I even told her, I said, I've been wanting to ask you. Well, I'll ask you. I said, I haven't called Pastor. I said, but this is really getting out of hand. And we had a long chat, and I expressed my feelings and about it. So thank you so much for all the input. Thank you, Keita, for the question, and because it has helped me with everything that was said. Thank you.
Let there be a message to all of us that the message that I took from what Jackie said, and after I ingest the purpose of her saying it, the message I get from that is, all of us, we are available. It's not just James Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are available to any of you. So I'm very much appreciative of you making that statement, Jackie, because I think sometimes we do need to be reminded that it's not just James Richard who does this or have the ability to help you get through things or see things. It's all of us. I'm done.
And that's true, because I was going through something, and we was taught we supposed to, lean on our family. And I ain't talking about blood family. I'm talking about the family that we are now. And I did that, rely on the family, and they helped me. I know Pastor always said, "Why you didn't come and talk to me?" And I said, "Pastor, I had to do what you said, lean on the family." And like I say, everything worked out for the good. Family help.
Let me clarify that, Charles. I don't say why you didn't come to me. When you tell me that you're going through things, I'm like, why you didn't call me? It's not that you have to, in your response, it usually is you got too much on your plate. I don't say, why you didn't call me instead of calling the family. That's not what I say at all. Because there are answers that the other members of this family have that I don't have a clue about. I don't know everything, don't profess to, but I do know this, that within the confines of this family, there are answers for anything that you can raise. And we don't know who the ancestors have given those answers to until those questions come. I'm done.
Thank you, Pastor. That's how I, can bring it out.
Thank you.
Beautiful discussion. Anyone else? I don't want to exclude anyone. If you have something you want to add.
Ron, I wanted to add this. So Kathy mentioned, the things that we're telling ourselves, the self-talk that we have, sometimes not being the greatest. So for me, just to be honest and just putting it all out there, when you haven't called in a while, you feel a way about calling. That is, and I think that's in part what where the withdrawal, like the negative withdrawing comes, dealing with those thoughts.
Yeah. Anybody want to speak to that? I think I know how where you're coming from with that as well. But it's I don't think anybody that I can think of on this phone would feel that way, Keita. And I'm not just hopefully speaking to anybody that's want to say it. I mean, you and I hadn't talked in ages, unless I think I saw you at a ball game last year. But I mean, I would not think heavily of you calling me or or anybody else on this line for that. Even if you just send a text. And so all I'm trying to say is don't feel that way. That guilt has a way of trying to trap us. But you know what? To me, it's always a sign that lets you know that you're headed in the right direction. When you feel like that, like what we're describing now, and everybody talking about how they feel is a good thing. This brings us closer together. This is oneness, and maybe this is something that this oneness and this closeness is something we're going to need in the very, very near future. So that's the beauty of these conversations, these discussions, and please don't feel that way. And I hope that helps somebody else too that's on here. There's nobody on here that would mind that.
And there's nobody else.
Ron, I was only oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I think I was trying to jump in at one time and just say that you're never disconnected. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
There's nobody on here who has not experienced that as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
And still do occasionally.
Yeah.
And it isn't entirely the process of learning how to evolve each and all of ourselves spiritually about how to bring ourselves out of those mind states when we find ourselves in them or we spiral ourselves into them. And of course we can ask for help. But it is the goal and the sense of progression where you learn how to sort of stop those sort of self-deprecation cycles from getting to, self-destructive.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I think the self-destructive thoughts are that you're thinking, I can't pick up the phone and call anybody because I'm no longer connected because I haven't called in a long time. That's why I made the statement, you're never disconnected. Family is family. You're always connected. Spiritually, we're always connected. So there's no reason to feel like I've been away too long and I don't feel like I may be apart anymore. Maybe they won't even see me as being apart. That's not true. I just wanted to add that.
Agreed.
Okay. Feel better about that, Keita?
Yeah, I do. I do. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Well, maybe that's a good place to pause for today. And we will resume tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Okay. I hope you guys have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Look forward
Have a
to
great day.
seeing you tomorrow.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a good day, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.